Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the Good Morning Education Show. My name is Rotimi Tai, and I'm so excited to be here today. We will be streaming from Lagos, Nigeria, and of course to Africa, to West Africa, Africa, and the entire world. If you're just joining us, we want to welcome you to the Good Morning Education Show. Thank you for joining. For those of you who are in Ibadan, this is a special shout out to you guys in Ibadan. And those of you who are from OAU is another shout out for those of you in OAU. And if you are from Kenya, this is the bell of blessing. Bell of blessing to all Kenyan. How do you call that? Kenyans there. Good morning, Dr. Fee.
Good morning.
How are
We
you today?
take our greetings from all the different levels. Thank you. I'm fine, thank you.
And we have a special guest joining us all the way from Kenya. Drum roll. We have Waythera. Good morning. How are you today?
Good morning. I am well. How
Yes,
are you?
And
So glad to be here.
Yes. So glad to have you. And of course, as we do on the Good Morning Education Show, what we do is we have conversations that has to do with headlines within the world of education, around the world of education. We treat topics that also matter and concern to people within the education sphere. And we are always excited to have guests like you and other people who uh, share thoughts and experiences with us on the show. And today will not be an exception. Already we have Senna from Ghana. Senna Emefa. She's saying good morning, and she's so excited about Wethera joining us. So Wethera, yay! A blessing to Senna. This show is fast becoming a continental
Yay! Hi, Senna.
cocktail every morning. Good. All right. So good morning, everyone. And of course, we're going to review the headlines, and I'm sure, Wethera, you know the drill, so you join us, um, and we'll have the show. So we're going to start with the first headline, and the first headline has to do with something from Nigeria. So the NUT chairman is also known as Nigerian Union of Teachers. It says no worker earns below 30,000 naira in Kwara State. I'm going to start with Fee, then I'm going to come to Omotola, then I'm coming to you with Hera. All right, Fee.
For the NUT chairman to say no worker earns below 30,000 minimum wage, I'm wondering if he is the new, what's it called, maybe commissioner for finance, or because you are the NUT chairman, I think he should stay within his constituency. If he says, yeah, no member of the union earns below the national minimum wage, we can understand that because he has overview functions in that area. But to say no worker, I think the NUT chairman has stepped out of his scope, and he seems to be beating the drums of what now? Of cooperation, of singing the praises of the governor. But that said, the minimum wage, well, needs an upward review. But I don't think that is discussion for today.
Okay, let's hear from Dr. Omotola.
Hi everyone, good morning. So I agree with Finn. I think that maybe for the teachers, maybe no workers and beyond 30,000 naira, but that is not the case for everybody. And so and I think it's all political, like what's the word? Ass kissing, if you don't mind my word, because I know the election is coming in less than 2 years. So I think they're just trying to get their act together and like sort of like pull like a fast run on the people. So yes, I agree that it is not his job to state that. And he said it when he went to visit the state governor. So that is already biased in my own opinion. So it was not like a statement that he just did when he called a press conference or something. I think he was just trying to ask his the governor. And so I don't think that that's absolutely correct that no worker earns less than 30,000 in the state.
Okay. Withera, do you have anything to say about that?
How much is 30,000 naira? Is that about how many dollars is that?
30,000
It's
naira
about
is
80 or 75-ish.
no, it's not up to that. Oh,
It's not even up to that. Jesus.
it's not up to that. 30,000 naira is maybe like $28, less than $30.
Wow.
It's fabulous.
Oh,
Let's
wow.
just say $30.
Okay. So I think my only comment is that it is probably a political, it sounds like a very political comment. Yeah, because I can't really say much because I do not understand the Nigerian economy and how y'all work. But it sounds like a political comment as far as I'm concerned.
All right. Thank you very much. And we have a particular news that I'm sure you'll be excited about. Your president, how do you pronounce his name? Is he Uhuru or Uhuru? President Kenyatta,
Uhuru.
okay, arrived in London on Tuesday to co-chair the Global Education Summit with the Prime Minister Boris Johnson. He says he has held various meetings with various powerful leaders in the United Kingdom. I would believe that he's doing that for the benefit of the country. Feedback. Is it just news or is it just news?
Africa. So, well, this is honestly laughable because our education system and the level of corruption. Actually, schools just opened this week on Monday, and everyone is complaining about school fees, the things that children are asked to take to school in terms of books. So you find a child who is in kindergarten is being asked to go to school with 20 exercise books. And with the COVID situation, schools are closing so often, and every time parents have to pay school fees, and so it's taking a toll on very many parents. Notwithstanding that the education system is we're in transition, getting into a system that's being called the competency-based curriculum, which is still in its very early stages. So with teething problems and then with all the costs that come with it, it's a bit of a mess. And so this is very interesting, and I'm really curious and can't wait to see how this goes because we need help. Yeah.
Dr. Motola, do you want to say something about that?
Yes, like because when I read the news, they were saying that their goal is to raise $5 billion or maybe euro for education for 175 million children across the world. And I'm like, that is just BS. That is the big bullshit from my perspective because the truth is like they are not minding their matter and their business. Yes, it's a different thing if they're saying okay, 5 billion for like or a specific amount for students in Kenya or for those in Africa. Why must he? And then why can't they take on their own? Like it's just very annoying and irritating to me. So I think they have hidden motive and agenda, and their purpose is not truthfully about the children. And then they're not specific; they're just too general about it. And so I think it's just all about fanfaring and just yeah. I don't trust either of them.
All right. It seems like in Africa, education is still yet to find its real place and fit. And I hope that people like Dr. Motola Withera, Dr. Fee, and the host of others will be able to become the avengers for education so that we can avenge the development needs, of it. Well, let's just get to another headline. Still on that education summit, we have a promise from the president of Nigeria, and it says Buhari promises 50% rise in education budget despite 5.5% allocation in 2021. So that's like 45% increase that's been promised. Let's start with Finn.
So here I am again saying, yes, this is a promise, and this is a promise that I'm not holding with anything I'm not holding with any seriousness, really. Leave the promises, start implementing. Let us see this increase in the budget. Let us see it already being implemented. Let us see the effect on the lives of the student. Let us see teachers saying, oh, we have labs. I saw the picture of a clinic that was donated to a school. I saw that picture yesterday. I saw the pictures yesterday by the alumni of that school donating the clinic. And I was wondering, if private individuals can do this, then where is the government? What is the government? Don't tell us that you are promising an increment, and then maybe because NUT doesn't go on strike as frequently or as much or as commonly as ASU does, we think that all that is promised them is delivered. Not everything that is promised them is delivered. So please, President, move away from the promise of a rise and let us see the implementation. Let us see these things being functional, running, up and running. Thank you for the promise, but we want something better than that.
Yeah, and then can I add to that? Because I read the headline further, and they said that the 50% increase that is even promises is by 2025. Please, my question is, will he still be in our president in 2025? I hope not, and I definitely don't pray for that. So it's promising something that he cannot fulfill because there's no guarantee that he's still going to be the president. And then why must it be that when they're doing all of this global summit stuff out of the country or something, that's when they are now motivated to want to do good or want to increase the budget? Must there always be that push? So I just feel like it is just all noise and just like BSing the people because they're like, oh, we don't want to look bad in front of the global stage. So why will you say that in the next 2 to 4 years, that's when it's going to increase it by 2025, when is not definitely, I hope and I pray, is not going to be in government and is not going to be our president. So it cannot even fulfill the promise that he's making.
So I'd like to add something. So here in Kenya, there's a phrase that's used a lot. So it was the manifesto.
Hello?
It was like the slogan. It was the slogan of our current government. So it said kusema na kutenda. It's Swahili. So kusema na kutenda, let me just type it out on the chat. That means, saying and doing. So what you say is what you'll do. We are still waiting almost. We are in year 9. And, people say many things, but they're not doing much. And it seems like it is a problem across, across the continent, where people say things for political reasons, and then they don't fulfill them when they get to power. So it will be interesting to see how that pans out.
Thank you very much. Another one says, teachers diploma upgrade. Teacher reveal one key thing that has left them in a dilemma. That's one of the headlines. But there's an interesting headline I would like us to really look at. And that headline actually is, as online education grows, the business of cheating is booming. So I'm sure who wants to feast on that first? Lovely breakfast this morning.
In what country or what continent is this? I'm almost suspecting that this is about us in Africa because our
Obviously.
system, our system of education is one that supports and that encourages cheating. Man, I have had to take courses in a system that is different from the Nigerian than the Nigerian system, where you have your exam is like what we would call homework. So you can take it away, work on it, find resources to help you with it. It's not, your lecturer is not out to see you fail. So cheating is not something that is encouraged in that kind of system. What you could have in that kind of system is plagiarism, where people are not using they just want to go the easy way. Oh, I have the access to other materials and just copy and paste. But it's not cheating of, oh, well, I have to pass this compulsorily. So it's not the online education that is making the business of cheating boom. It's the system of education that is encouraging cheating, and it's something we really need to look into before you take an exam. The first day, well, for the tertiary system, the first day of meeting the lecturer is telling you, oh, A is for God, B is for me, C is for my ancestors, the remaining you can share. And even before you get to the point of being tested at all, there's a ceiling. You can't have more than a D, no matter how brilliant you are. So how do you expect in that system for students to put in their best without looking for ways to cheat, to be able to say, oh, okay, I'm going to surpass it's the system we should be looking at, not blaming online education. Online education may not be that popular in our climb, but it's been on, it's been in practice in other parts of the world for a longer time, and they're not complaining about it booming the business of cheating. But we should look inwards, look at our system, and look at what we are training our students to become.
Actually, this is actually interesting. Can I quickly mention, because I went to look for the news. So apparently it's coming out of Nairobi, and the fact is that they're saying that American students are the ones cheating and hiring students and youth from across Africa, specifically from Kenya, to help them do their homework, like write their essays, and they pay them between $20 to $50. And according to one of the person who they interviewed, who is like running this business in Kenya, he makes at least $2,000 per month, because he said there's no job, so he doesn't want to steal, and so this is only legitimate way. He signed up for like tutoring services, and some students just want to do more than that. But
he doesn't want to steal. What is he doing?
He has to do. He's like working with the economy when there's a demand and supply.
Oh my goodness!
But
we have
I like
black stealing, white stealing.
Yeah, it's everywhere. So I don't think it's just specific to our country. Exactly. Yes, miracle worker.
Anyway, while you were speaking, let's welcome Aderian Sola. She's not on the wheel of steel. She's on the wheel with steel.
Yeah.
Please drive
good
safely.
Morning. Thank you. Good morning. Interesting topic, by the way.
Good morning. Welcome back.
Yeah.
Then we have Adama, all the way from the city of Abuja. Adama is forming like she's in a board meeting now.
So about this online education thing, silly cheating and all, it's interesting because I remember when Unilag was going to do entrance exam for this foundation students, and there's one requirement that you must have a camera on when you are doing exam. In fact, that's a requirement now for the old school. Like when they do exams online, you must have a camera on throughout the exam. But unknown to the students that they could actually monitor them, what they were doing. They just felt maybe it was, the regular Nigerian thing that, oh, it's all bobo, like nothing's going to come out of it. Like there are several students who did entrance exam that their results were not released because Unilag was actually monitoring everybody. And there was a particular student who the whole family sat for the exam together, like, and they could actually see them, like, actually sitting for the exam together. So when they came to school to come and start asking us, oh, okay, this they didn't release their exam results, this, that, and okay, let's play the clip for you. And this, as in, like, the parents went back in shame and all that because they all wrote the exam together. So I think somehow they are finding ways. There will be people that will still cheat, but the fact that they've made examples of some people, so people are trying to, at least based on somebody impersonating or writing the exam right now, it's reducing. But then there are still challenges with that because some students who are not very, will I say, who cannot get access to good internet access, will I say, who cannot get, to good internet, it's challenging for them. So at the end of the day, you're not even testing, they are praying and hoping that their internet access does not mess them up. But I think they made room for that in the last examination anyway, where it's not just a timeline, like the whole day, you can write the exam for the whole day, but then your camera still has to be on. So yeah, we are working with what life has thrown at us, which is COVID. So we have to make it work.
And then can I just say something? And I still think I agree with Fini that yes, in most universities, I can remember in most of my own courses in undergrad, we didn't have to do this one like, oh, you have to, like, they even encourage us to open our book because they're not just trying to teach us like rote memorization. It's about understanding and being able to apply and be able to use it when you are outside in the field. And so I think we need to really rethink our education in terms of like how we grade students and move beyond, oh no, they must just know it. They cannot use any other material, stuff like that. They'll tell us, use your notes, use your textbook. And then it's about understanding and being able to apply. Because the truth is, after all of these exams that most of the students write, if you ask them a day later, you have forgotten it. They just really cram just to pass, and that's the end of it. So we still have some work to do.
Yeah.
Fee, you want to say something?
No, nothing more on this. Nothing more.
Okay. So let's take one more headline and then we'll wrap up. CSO to Buhari, grant Yaba Tech varsity status. Let's hear from, yes, Aderisola, please, you should talk about this, Aderisola. Yaba Tech varsity status.
I don't even see, like, it's not even about the university status because as far as I'm concerned, it's same whole. Like it should be the quality of education that we are like. Look, all this is just name calling, and if we find out, it might just be about the money, as in how much is being paid to the lecturers that are in that school and all, like their payment system. Because at the end of the day, they are all tertiary institutions. And if you even ask me, I feel the tech schools even offer better education than we at the university, because I go to Yaba Tech from time to time, and it's like their education seems to, like the technical parts seems to be better for like at least the 21st century workforce. So if someone is fighting, or will I say is trying to make government call them university, I think it's all about money. It's not really about the education, because nothing is going to change in that school. So why it should be that they are saying, oh, we offer the same education, or we are at par with the university, not change our name. The change of name is not going to do anything as far as I'm concerned. University College of Education, same old. It's the quality of education we should be addressing here. So name change doesn't really matter to me.
Okay, so on that note, we need to head to the topic of the day. But before that, we have our grant of the day. Dr. Motola, over to you, please.
Sure. So our grant of today is from the Jewish Helping Hand, and the next deadline, because they do like 4 times in a year kind of opening for application. So the next one for this year is October 19, 2021 for your letter of inquiry, LOI. And then if you do well and they want you to further, then the full proposal is due November 2021. So roughly a month after you submit the LOI. The grant amount is up to 10,000 US dollars, and you can use this for basic human needs, Jewish culture, promotion, or healthcare access and delivery. The applicant type is both non-profit and individual, so you don't have to own a non-profit. But if you care about any of these field of work, you can definitely apply and can use the funding for programs and projects. The location is provided like in different, like I guess, continents, but specifically anywhere in the world. Basically, anyone in any country across the world can definitely apply. Feel free to check out the website to read more about it. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Motola. And to the topic of the day, how to think. How to think. I was in a training session for 3 days now, and towards the end of the session, this subject matter came up. And we found, I asked the question, and probably maybe I should revamp that experience and ask us here. Does anybody know why we don't have good power supply in Nigeria? Anybody?
Transmission.
Why did I ask you?
Good morning. Hey, Mr. Itayo, this dimension you are bringing into this discussion this morning.
Sir. You know,
Yes,
I decided to, bring some things, and, a lot of educators, in over 100 people that we were training, they had different, someone said load shedding, blah, blah, blah. I said, what's the real core problem? And there are majorly three. And Aderi has given us expo. She got it. Transmission is one. Number two is energy theft, right? Energy wastage and energy theft. But we were not going to go through all those unnecessary brouhaha. Number three is not something I can say on public platform. So
put it in the chat. Put it in a private chat.
Permit me. Internet has spies. Permit me to. But the truth of the matter is, those are the two documented monsters. Every other thing that you see is a ripple effect, from the Gencos to the discos and all the likes. But, it's important for us to begin to understand that the beauty behind being empowered through the system of schooling and learning should be that people should be able to think. I think that's one of the best achievements that any teacher and any education system can deliver. Because I hear so many people, and I'll do this illustration to end my introduction. I hear so many people chase after trendy things. Some years ago, it was if you could get your child to do graphic designing, then it meant, your child is almost like 21st century savvy. Then again, it came to website. If your child can develop website and write blogs and open blogs, then your child is is 21st century skilled, so to speak. Then from websites, and then people started talking about coding, and then we started talking about STEM and STEAM, and it seems like the list is not going to end. Just before you grasp one, you're into another. I think it was on the show, Ademi Sola was telling us that I think she did NIT or something, or some courses, and she's trying to even remember where is the plug, where, so a lot of us sometimes go through this chase, but we leave the children out of being able to stay empowered. So, for example, now, if we get to learn fashion designing, we get to do vocation, like everybody shouting vocation. Now, the vocation of today might not be trendy tomorrow. And sometimes some of the vocation that we are teaching is because it's like the educator's fancy. It fascinates the educator. So we adopt, you know what, let the children learn this. Let the children learn that. The one that doesn't fascinate you, you don't bring it to bear. But a lot of people miss the point. Vocation and trade is not the core. I think the number one core is the capacity and the ability and also the culture of thinking. And so this is the conversation that we want to have in the next few minutes. And I'm excited that we have thinkers and speakers here. We have Olusola Olumide, we have KK, she's a one-woman republic. I don't know why KK is not in UK to represent a republic, while other African leaders are in the UK for education. So, KK, are you there? KK doesn't want to answer. All right, so let's start that conversation. So, Faye, I'm going to ask you a funny question. Do you think?
Yes, I think.
Why
I
do you
think
think you
ever
think?
since I know I think. I don't think I think. I know I
But
think.
why do you know? And how do you know that you think?
I know I think because my mind is very active and actions that I take show that I think. Even if it's just to get a bottle of, if it's just to get a cup of water, I thought about it before I got up to take the cup of water. So yes, I think, and I know that I think because I take actions that reflect my thoughts.
All right. Thank you for that response. What actions do we take that guarantees or reflects our ability to think? This is a question I'm giving to Olusola Olumide. Because Finn says she thinks and she's judging her thinking ability or her thinking behavior by the fact that she takes action. What can we say are the actions that reflect thinking? Olusola Olumide, please unmute your mic. The question is to you. Okay, I think he's not available. Let's take that question all to the country of Kenya. Kenya, Withera, what actions?
I I and then I start with I think. So the actions that we take, I don't think they necessarily mean that we think, because everyone is doing something anyway, which could be informed by different things. It could be informed by the fact that, or maybe it's, what's the quality of the thinking? Because you're thinking about doing something, you've seen someone do X, and so you decided, let me join them. So, you have thought, but have you thought? So
You're sounding like think
I guess
bigger, thinkers.
that's the
All right.
like
Olushola, are
the
you back?
level of thinking.
Yes.
Yes.
I'm back.
So we are asking the question, yeah.
Yes, go ahead. I didn't hear the question.
Oh, okay. We're saying Finn brought up a situation in the conversation that she knows she thinks because she takes action. There are certain actions she takes that shows that she thinks. So I'm not asking what are those actions?
Okay. Well, I think everybody thinks. However, before you can be termed as thinking, we want to assume you are thinking productively. You are thinking to back results. Your imagination can actually capture what lies ahead, because the future you are going into, you are not yet there, or what you are meant to do, you are not yet there. But you can really picture, and then cast it in your mind before it comes to realization. Then personally, I've discovered that civilization is a function of his reasoning. A man's reasoning cannot transcend his level of civilization. There are things people cannot cast in their mind or craft. They don't see it a possibility. So if you have to just be a normal thinking, I think it's natural by default, but what are you thinking about? Are you batting results? Are you being productive? Is that thing bringing solution to yourself, to the people around you? You know, it has to really, it's not just I'm thinking. Somebody is thinking of I want to go and steal. Somebody is thinking I want to go and steal. Can we really say those are productive thoughts? So I feel it's a real task, and I think it demands blood. That's why when you read, you have to eat a lot. So I think there are steps. Being proactive, being deliberate, ability to see the future. It's like an artist. You are able to cast that thing in your mind before the reality is obvious to everybody. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I know that we cannot have this conversation without everyone using the word think in their response. So therefore, I'm asking another thinking question. Although I'm careful to ask Derry because Derry is going to have to think. And I don't want you to think outside the road. So let's take the question back to Adama in the city of Abuja. Adama, are you there?
Yes, I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yes, Olushola Olumide mentioned something that's quite profound. He said, you can't outthink your level of civilization. Right? I'm sure you heard that. So now let's put this statement, into perspective. How can we create a borderless level of civilization so that our thinking doesn't get tampered with, hampered, or limited?
Exposure for me. It's I feel like more people need to get exposure, get the experience of different and diverse people, different different things. And it starts with being open-minded, and open-minded is actually a thinking skill. Being open-minded is a thinking skill. So it goes, I don't know how to where to take it down to, but I take it down to the teachers in a classroom. Now, open as a teacher, you'd welcome ideas from and scrutinize ideas from children as though they are all important. Everybody have different ways of thinking, and it's your duty to accept the way a child thinks, and then try to see reasons with whatever children are bringing on the board. So I think it starts from open-mindedness, and then being able to understand that. I think I can't remember where I got that quote, but it says that all that I know is not all there is to know. So, just understand that you can't know it all, and you keep learning, and you can learn from anywhere and any source. So for me, it's open-mindedness. And I wanted to add that when it comes to things, when you ask, do you think? Yes, everyone thinks. Everyone, but there are different levels of thinking. If you ask a question, I want to recall something, I'm thinking. To remember is a thinking skill. If I need to evaluate something, I am thinking. But there are different levels. They have the lower level of thinking, and then we have the higher level of thinking. The higher level starts, when you start thinking of how to apply something that you know to a different situation. It's a skill. It starts from the classroom as well. It's something that teachers teach children. Okay, you've learned 1 + 1, and that's good. How do we apply 1 + 1 to this situation? How do I apply 2 + 2 to a different situation? So ability to apply is higher order thinking skill. Ability to create is a whole thinking skill. And those are things that teachers should encourage in classrooms. Okay? To recall, to remember facts, to explain a fact that you recalled, those are like lower order thinking skills, but those are still thinking skills as well. So I just thought I should add that.
Thank you very much, our special classroom teacher. And I know you had to think, but this time around, I'm going to switch it. I'm going to ask Derry. not to use the word think in our response to my question, as she thinks about the answer to a thinking question. So, Derry, remember, you are not to think. No, you are to think, but not to use the word think. All right, so the question is this. How can we dwell or create focus on the journey rather than the destination? Because from what our panelists have said, it means that if we really want people to observe and experience and engage, we must get them to be aware of everything around, not just the final destination, which most times we often do in school. We don't tolerate playing around the journey. We only want to get them to the destination. In fact, most times the excursions in excursion is missed out because we are focused on the destination. So we're going, for example, to Olumorok. Olumorok for the teacher is the destination. So the teacher forgets to tell people about the journey. So people don't even know landmarks. They don't even know towns that they've passed. They don't even know landmark signs. They don't even know history of the places until they see the rock. And then the same way when they go back home, you know. But take, for example, you're going to Ibadan or you're coming from Ibadan. Some people tell you about this Amala spot, and he's very, he knows about all those areas. She can tell you the topography and the geographical landmark of some experiential sites in those kind of places. So, Dr. Derry, over to you.
Okay, it's very interesting because journey is one of the things I always emphasize. And why do I say this? Awareness of your journey gives you the ability to be able to pick up everything that will be beneficial to you. Everything. And like you said, people forget the journey. I mean, people forget the the journey and focus on the destination, which is why many things are failing in our educational system. And I'll give you examples. There was a time I had to go do a part of my research in the UK, and this is like a requirement in my department. I would typically see PhD, and I am using PhD student because this is like a very high level of, you would expect that at that level, you should be exposed, you should, have some level of awareness. But what I would typically see amongst us is, oh, I'm going to do my research in this lab. And if you ask them what their experience was in the UK, or whatever it is they visited, South Africa, whatever, they can only probably tell you about their laboratory. They never actually explored. And I'm telling you, I'm like, you went for education, but you came back an illiterate. Because for me, when you're talking about education, I always say the best way to educate anybody is make them travel. When people travel, and I don't mean, oh, travel, I went on vacation. When people travel and actually take what is on that, the education on that journey of travel, the way they think, oh no, the way they see things is different. You will, at the end of the day, say that people went on an educational like say journey without actually getting educated. Okay, so for me, I think the journey is the most important part of anything. I for one have been able to like reprogram my mind for a while now to focus, and that is why when you see people panicking about, oh, I did not pass an exam or I failed, what I say is, what are the learnings? It is a learning curve. So because I never even see, because I always say it is when you see a destination that you think you failed. Do you understand? But if you don't see it as a destination, you see it as a journey, you will take the learnings on that journey. And once you take the learnings on your journey, it means you can't fail. You will have taken something on that journey. And that is what people always forget. So it is about us hammering people paying attention to their journey so that they would never have to fail at anything. So it's a win-win all the time because you would have taken something out of that journey. So yeah, it's I I think if at least one teacher in every school could tell a student and say, your journey, what you are here to do. Like, for instance, I teach accessing global opportunities. Of course, I didn't study that in school. I studied chemistry. But because I was paying attention to what I was doing right on the journey whenever I applied and what I was doing wrong, I could put it together and sell it as a product. And you'll be wondering what it was just my experiences in doing this thing. It was my journey. I have PhD students who did the same thing, applied, but they cannot replicate that success. Why? They never paid attention to the journey. So it's important. The journey is the most important part as far as I'm concerned. Yeah.
Thank you. Even though you mentioned think while you were explaining the feedback we got was you mentioned think. So we're going to go to the doctor from the US of A, Dr. Omotola. And Dr. Omotola, even before the topic, she's always saying, I think. So I know she has to struggle not to say think in this answer. So Dr. Omotola, please be prepared. You can think, but you must not use the word think. So the methodology of thinking would really go a long way to helping educators and students especially how to get students to think. You know, it's very important. And I know that the use of questioning is one of the very good tools to do so. So Dr. Omotola, how can we, dwell more as educators and professionals and parents out there to help our children think? What methodology of thinking do you think can be explored, so that we can get them to think well? Over to you, Dr. Omotola.
Thank you. So in my opinion, I believe that like you said, and that was what I was going to mention, is questioning. Educators, parents, especially we that were in the African continent or Nigeria to be specific, we need to become better at welcoming questions, at not getting past too attached to because I said so, because that's the way it is done, and shutting down the children, shutting down our students when they challenge and question us about things. And so, in my opinion, I really believe that that is the only way that things are going to get better. Welcoming questions, welcoming the opportunity for students, for your child to challenge you. My daughter does that to me every single day. Anything I ask her, she'll say why. She'll give me her own rebuttal for it as well. And then we sit down and say, okay, let's think through this. I know I mentioned think. So, but the truth is, it is so helpful. And I learn from her every day. Like, I have like journals all about my daughter, how I want to be more like her. And she's just all. So, and that was not the case for me when I was growing up. It was like their way or the highway for my teachers and sometimes for my parents as well, until I got older and I could find a way to figure it out and work my way into things. But I really believe that questioning is such an important thing, like not just telling them to come to like a regurgitated answer, allowing them to like really creating debate, intentional. Like, I know a class that I took, and it's one of the things that I adopt now in one of my classes. But when I was in
Dr. Omotola, are you there?
Yeah, yes, can you hear me? I'm here. So every week for the topics that we do, instead of them just saying that, okay, introduction to social welfare, is social welfare good or not? No, it will tell us, it would divide the class into like two. Who is for social welfare, who is not for social welfare, why or why not? And then we debate it out. Then after we now finish the whole debate and everybody has their opinion, then it will now say that, okay, in summary, this is what we can learn from this topic. Other things like, okay, abortion or not, we intentionally divide us, especially if he knows that you're for it or not. He will now make you the opposite of it, so that he wants you to think differently and go beyond your comfort zone to get to really reflect on the issue objectively, subjectively, not being too personally attached to it. So I really believe that can really enhance her learning and help our students to definitely get better and be what thinkers. Thank you.
What thinkers. I like that. Okay, so let's come to another question, and I'll ask Olushola to give us just in 60 seconds. So Omotola said something that we must be able to welcome questions. We should form a habit of welcoming questions. That signifies that we need to deal with taboos. Number one, it seems like it's a silent taboo to question adults, or better still, people who are a bit, advanced in age. Especially if you imagine you say, "What are you doing there?" You know that question most likely comes from the superior to the subordinate, from the greater to the lesser, from the older to the younger. But now imagine the table turns, and then it's the younger that says, "What are you doing there?" What do we do in really trying to make this sustainable across board? I remember I had an English teacher who was also an history teacher in SS1, and he had his surname is a Yoruba person now, so he has a way he calls his surname. He likes the tonation and all that. So someone was trying to ask the question, and he was teaching us stress. So he said, today we're going to be talking about stress, and he always speaks very fast. So someone now said, "Sorry, Mr. Okwe," his name is Mr. Okwenaike, but he heard Okwe. So he now said back to the students, he said, "Babe Okwe," as in like, is your father that is Okwe? Just because some people believe that. Why do you? So over to you guys. I'm starting with Olushola Olumide.
I think we have to keep hammering this stuff in relation with the adult. Like I did say some weeks back, it is very, very more difficult to reprogram people than the initial programming. And I also discovered that adults are not easy to help. It's like they have been cast in stone. Questioning, I have discovered that it surfaces in almost every area of life. Go to the hospital, the doctor asks you, "Yes, what's the issue? How are you feeling?" It helps to profile the patient. And also in psychology, in neuroscience, cognitive behavioral therapy, because medical science cannot really solve certain psychological disorders, it takes profiling. You have to ask questions. And I discovered that for the adults who are more patient, who see things from the global perspective, you can even see the younger folk, you can see sincerity and innocence. The question is not to demean you. It's not meant to reduce you. The little boy, the little girl, even though people in our institution, they meant to, they just wanted to know. Only for the adult to take it overboard. It will kill engagement. It kills creativity. It kills work. It kills empathy. And over time, I have learned something. Even when you are in leadership role, criticism is a feedback. When you don't allow people to question what you do, a time will come, people will watch you walk into a pit. Nobody will restrain you. Because once they ask you why this or why that, the other person may flare up and feel, what effrontery, what audacity, that is the terminology. Meanwhile, the person has only asked a simple, innocent question. Like somebody saying, "Oh, how are you? Are you all right?" If you say that in our climb, Ellie will let loose. And the person meant well. So I feel we should keep engaging. And for the younger generation, we shouldn't kill their confidence. We shouldn't kill their innocence. We shouldn't kill their creativity. We should allow the question to come out, like Dr. Omotola just said. When you engage, in fact, I have found out, number one, the bonding will be more, trust will increase, and I tell you, success rate will equally increase. When you are at home with somebody you can question, whether husband and wife, subordinate, superior, whether leader led, other colleagues, ability for people to ask you questions and answering the same in all honesty, without feeling bad. I tell you, it will even throw up things you never saw initially. As against you opposing people asking you that question. I think we should learn to embrace it, and we should keep pushing until the adult realize that asking questions does not necessarily mean you are disrespecting them. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, sir. And as we begin to draw the curtains on today's show, I believe that is very important, because even when we get to the world of enterprise as employees, employers, business people, you will get to realize that thinking is one resource you will never stop using. You think and think and think. In fact, there's the word rethink. You hear the word rethink your strategy, rethink your model, rethink your processes. So I think it's a word we should just accept that, look, you need all through your entire journey in life. So the earlier, the better. So I want you guys just share your parting shots, as it were, closing remarks. We're going to start from Darren. Quickly, your closing remarks are going to move to Finn. Darren and Finn, they sound alike because there's a ring in the sound. And then we're going to go to Omotola, and then we'll go to Adama because there's a La and Ma in that. And then we'll go to Wethera and Olushola, and then I end as well. So, Darren, first, over to you.
What I'm going to say is this: we should put a lot of things before our ego, and we should start to understand that questioning someone is not synonymous, or will I say, lack of us questioning somebody's this thing does not mean we respect them, and it does not mean we basically respect them. Let me put it that way. So when we receive questions from people, starting with us, we should first understand the intent, that it is not because they want to challenge us or challenge our authority, but the fact that they may actually not understand, and explaining why to people, especially when you are an employer of labor. When you explain the why to your staff or to your team, it gets them on board. When people understand your vision, when people understand where you are going, then it is very, very easy for them to follow you, and you don't have to keep shouting. When you have to start shouting, it means people don't understand you. That is my closing remark.
Thank you. Being the next year.
I believe the older generation, or the generation of our parents right now, were not put through the process of active, or what we would call critical thinking. Yes, everybody thinks, but they didn't go through, if we go through the Bloom's taxonomy and the levels of thinking, it wasn't something that was actively taught to them. And we should move away and shift from putting emphasis on what they already, it's not part of them. So let's leave them as they are. But to right that, we can focus on the new generation. Not many of us either were taught to think critically. Not many of us were taken through the process of receiving information, evaluating it, comprehending it, analyzing, synthesizing, but we can focus on the younger generation, help them to bring out those things that are within them. And as we do that, balance it with them asking questions respectfully. Respect is not about age. It's about just realizing that this other person is a human being and deserves to be treated with respect. So yes, as we learn to think, because there is a pomposity that comes with knowledge. When people already, oh yes, I know this thing, or I have been able, I know much more than my age mate. There's a pomposity that comes with it. And if we're not careful, that's where we have issues with the older generation that would say, oh no, don't question me. I have said it. I know more than you. Before you were born, I was this and all of that. But if we're able to strike that balance with the younger generation that we're raising now, then there are no limits to how far we can go and how far they can go also.
Thank you very much. And then we have Adama.
Okay, I would just like to add to what was said. The world is constantly changing. You can't possibly teach everyone what to think about. And the best bet you could possibly have is to teach a child how to think. And when there are new situations, they'll be able to apply what they have learned in the situation. So it's not about teaching the what, it's about teaching the why and how. Thank you.
All right. Motola, over to you.
So I'll end with this quote that I already put in the chat, but I'll say it again. So this is by George Bernard Shaw that said 2% of people think 2% of the people think, 3% of the people think they think, and 95% of the people would rather die than think. So my encouragement is for you to be part of the 2%, and I hope that hopefully in some years from now and in our generation, it will go from 2% to like almost 50% or more. And how to do that is to make the time to think. It's not enough to just say I think when they ask you a question in answer, like you said, a lot of all of us we said that, right? But it's not just about saying I think, but making the time. So every day I deliberately put aside 30 minutes on my calendar. I call it my thinking time. And there's a lot of exercise that you can Google online. So I'm not going to bore you with how to do it or how I do it. You figure out what works for you. But spend time, whether it's on your career path, a problem that you want to solve in your community, a mission that you want to carry out, an issue that bothers you. Spend the time to think. And like Adama said, start thinking, teaching your children how to do that as well and create that space. Like for instance, if my daughter asks me, "Oh, I want pizza," so I'll ask her, "How can we afford it?" Or yeah, think about it. Then she comes up with ideas and what she can do and everything once she knows the amount. And I say, "Okay, good. Now let's activate that and let's go and do it." So I don't just say, "Okay, yes, let's go get pizza." No, I'm like, okay, think about how to afford it, because if you want to pizza every week, that is not sustainable. But if we can think up of a way where we can come up with that extra to pay for it, then no problem. So find time to think, make time to think, and encourage others to think. Thank you.
I like that. Find time to think, make time to think, encourage others to think. Withera, over to you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. This is such an important conversation about thinking, because if that quote, stands true, then, it's a crisis. If we think and we don't think. So I would encourage us all to think. I thought about the book, the very famous book, Think and Grow Rich, and how many people, swear by that they thought because they started thinking, they grew rich. And so how expensive is it not to think? We can't afford not to think. And my parting shot would be that you can't outperform how you think. We can't outperform how we think. And so we have to make time, as Dr. Motola has said, make time to think, make time to ask yourself, are these my thoughts, or are these thoughts I have inherited? Do they serve me? Do they serve where I want to go, or are they just drawing me back? So making time to think is very important. Thank you.
Thank you. I would like to ask you, what's the word think in Kenya? When you say think, how do you say think in Kenya?
I think in Swahili is fikiria. Is it? I can see
Said
a
what?
Kenyan here.
Yes.
Fikiria.
Fikiria.
I
Yes.
believe it.
So I
Fikiria
can
in
tell all
Swahili.
Swahili. Yeah, sorry about that. So I'm going to tell Dr. Motola to teach me how to fikiria. All right.
Yes.
Thank you. Okay, Olusola Olumide, over to you.
Thank you very much. I think my own partnership is that we should be open to other perspectives. We should not just be a stereotyped person, accommodate other perspectives, then rub minds together. What you never imagine could come out of engaging other ideas, other people, and I think it makes us be better at the end of the day. Thank you very much.
I can't hear you clearly.
Oh, hello, can you hear me now?
Yes, better now.
Yes, I said we should learn to accommodate others' perspective. And when we do that, number one, it broadens our own horizon and it leads us into things probably we never imagined could be or existed. So, which I think will also stretch our mind and affect our span of thinking. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, sir. And I'd like to tell you all that the Good Morning Education Show is a very good show that promotes thinking. So when you join us on the show, as many who are listening to us within Nigeria and outside Nigeria, in Africa and outside Africa, this show will cause you to think. So subscribe to our channel, like our video, share our post and comment. Tell people about the Good Morning Education Show. Mondays to Fridays, we are here 8 a.m. to 9 a.m. West African time. And as I said, you need to understand when it comes to thinking, you need three major elements. You need your brain, you need your eyes, you need your mind. And for that to happen, you need to learn how to twist things. You need to learn how to give space to things. You need to learn how to use your imagination and try to repeat things. Repetition, they say, makes room for emphasis. I'm afraid that's all we are able to take on the show today. But shout out to all our Kenya tribe members, Kenya family, Kenya friends. Shout out to Lady Mira's World. Shout out to Miriam. Shout out to Miriam from Kenya. Shout out to who else? I'm missing some names. Everyone that's joined us today, shout out to you. And for those who watch the replay, shout out to you. A bell of blessing for all our first timers. I see Darren is already nose marks, ready to work, ready to deliver. So we can't see that gorgeous smile again. Oh, yes, Wether has shown up.
Are you the internet is, are you there?
Yeah, we can hear him right now.
Okay,
Looks
so we
like
can round up. Yeah.
glitch. And
So,
so with that,
you
we
want to
can
teach
round
her?
off the show. We can round off the show this morning. And thank you everybody for being here. And that's the tribe members. Thank you for being here. Waithera, I don't know if you are conversant with our peer offline on the show. We usually end with "It's always a great morning" on the Good Morning Education Show. Did you get that?
No, it broke a bit.
Okay, so we usually end with "It's always a great morning" on the Good Morning Education Show. And that's what we're going to end with again this morning. And I hope we're all ready. Let's go.
It's always a
a
great
great
morning
morning
on
on
the
the
Good
Good Morning
Morning
Education
Education
Show.
Show. Have a
Thank you
wonderful
for
day,
standing by,
everyone.
everybody. Bye.
Have a great day. Bye.